Hey, this is Batman from Batman Comics. You're watching 9.9 Comics with Chris and Kyle.
Hey guys, and welcome to 9.9 Comics with Chris and Kyle. I am Kyle. Chris cannot join us today, unfortunately. He is currently in Orlando attending MegaCon 2018. Anyway, we are going to start off with comics being released on May 30th, 2018. And we're going to start off with DC Comics with their release of Man of Steel #1 of 6, which this just got edged out of the 9.9 no-brainer for something that's a little bit more obvious, but I mean, it should be held in just as high as regard. For one, it's Brian Michael Bendis coming to DC from Marvel. After he changed sides, he's going to be doing Man of Steel, of course. A little synopsis on this. A new era begins for Superman as a threat from his earliest origins reemerges to destroy the last son of Krypton. As Superman struggles to come to grips with what has happened to his wife and son, he must also face a new threat that is determined to burn down Metropolis. And this is a gem of the month for obvious reasons. So you want to pick it up and not miss something as eventful as a DC Brian Michael Bendis comic. I mean, we haven't had that yet. So, moving on, we have Batman Prelude to Wedding Robin versus Ra's al Ghul #1. So, just as it sounds, guys, this is Robin, Damian, versus his grandfather, Ra's al Ghul. Little synopsis on this. Ra's al Ghul returns to have a heart-to-heart with his grandson, Damian. Once upon a time, Ra's thought Bruce Wayne would be the heir apparent to his criminal empire. But now that Batman has turned his back on Talia for good, Ra's wants to know if Damian Wayne will honor his mother by stepping into the family business at last. Sorry. So, this is pretty monumental. I mean, it's taking place in a monumental occasion like the wedding between Batman and Catwoman, but it's Damian versus his grandfather. This is going to be some big stuff, guys. DC's making some moves. Marvel's stepping their game up, especially in the past few months. But DC isn't really lagging too far behind. They're putting out some good stuff, which is really rare to see both of the big two throwing decent punches. So, moving on, we have Justice League No Justice #4 of 4. This is the end to the No Justice short run, which is actually pretty action-packed, especially for a weekly comic. And the DC fans have been loving it just as much as they love Metal. And in fact, I think it's a little bit more tight-knit than Metal. Metal was awesome, but it was insane. Like, you have to reread it again just to even grasp everything that was going on at the same time. But No Justice is a really good run. And a little bit on this final comic for No Justice. The epic finale that everyone will be talking about. After the unimaginable happens, the DCU must band together to defend Earth from annihilation. Before the end, new alliances will be forged, and some heroes will be lost forever. Don't miss the event that will set the stage for the Justice League in 2018 and beyond. Batman Beyond. I hope Batman Beyond gets in the Justice League eventually. I think he does in one of the animated series temporarily. I can't remember. It's been a while. Moving on, we have finally, I know you guys have been waiting for, like, oh, where is it? Doomsday Clock #5 of 12. They're really dragging out the releases of these, which, I mean, it's Jeff Johns and Gary Frank continuing the Watchmen storyline in the DC universe, so you can cut them some slack. The comedian lives, and the mime and marionette loose in Gotham City. Rorschach is locked in the bowels of Arkham Asylum. Secrets will be revealed as the Doomsday Clock ticks on. So, As most of you read months ago in the Doomsday Clock number 4, Comedian's back. They brought the comedian back. It's not really that much of a spoiler. But yes, it's a new Doomsday Clock. I mean, it's exciting. It's a modern day Watchmen, literally. And that's it for DC. Moving into Marvel, we have the Infinity Countdown Captain Marvel number 1. That's right, Captain Marvel, which if most of you saw Infinity War and waited till after the credits, you saw that Captain Marvel is coming to the to the big screen, which is a big deal for comics. They do correlate. So Carol Danvers has crossed the borders of reality itself and returned in possession of the Reality Stone, and with it has contacted the Marvels of many worlds. I doubt the ones that Deadpool has killed everyone in, because there's no one to contact. Join the Captain's Marvel for a cross-time adventure into the nature of the Infinity Stones. So, I mean, Infinity Stones, big hype on those right now. Captain Marvel, big hype on her right now. Boom, hype. You don't want to miss this one. Moving on, that's actually it for Marvel, for now. Moving on, we have Mad Cave Studios with their release of Battle Cats, number 4 of 5. Battle Cats is that comic that we talked about a while ago with the number 1 that came out. It's really a niche comic. If you have a number 0, those are really hard to find. So Eric, actually a friend of the show, found out he got a number 0 from a convention a little while ago, and I'm pretty jealous. Little on this one. The elderly Netherian leads Netherian is the name of the line. Leads a young cub towards his destiny, becoming the most legendary battle cat ever. Yet, to protect the future, one must understand the past. Enter Valderia, a world shaped by its rich history and diverse culture. So, if you guys have been sleeping on Battle Cats, it's probably a good time to pick it up, because it is starting to get near the end of the run. That's it for that publisher. Moving into Dark Horse Comics, we have a really interesting one called Blackwood, number 1 of 4. This is a gem of the month, by the way. From the multi-Eisner award-winning creator of Beasts of Burden and the artist of Archie and Slam comes this supernatural fantasy about a magical murder in a sorcery school. When 4 teenagers with haunted pasts enroll in Blackwood College, a school that trains students in the occult, their desire to enhance their supernatural abilities and bond with others is hampered by an undead dean's curse. Ghosts in their dorm, a mischievous 2-headed mummy chimp, a plague of mutant insects, and the discovery of an ancient evil that forces our heroes to undergo a crash course in the occult for the sake of the world. So, mummy chimps, guys. Remember that. But I mean, it's a new number 1 on a Dark Horse, and it has to do with the occult. So I'd imagine it's a little bit horror-ish, and Dark Horse and horror mix like ice cream and chocolate. All right, guys. So moving into Titan Comics, we have an interesting one. I'm really enjoying it, and it kind of uses a plot device that I feel like it could be picked up for television. For television use eventually. It's really interesting. But 2021 Lost Children, number 1 of 2. Number 1 of 2. That means it's gonna be a lot packed into each comic. For fans of Akira, Domu, A Child's Dream, Ghost in the Shell, and Children of Men, Escape from New York meets the X-Men. It's 2021. Detroit has seceded from the United States, and its citizens are under the control of a madman with extraordinary abilities. The only hope of retaking the city lies for 4 superpowered children, but their powers come with a price. Using them means aging prematurely. Can they save the city before their powers use up their lives? Right, guys? Sounds like a pretty good idea. And it's only a 2 run, so you're not going to spend a lot of money investing time and money invested into this comic. It's literally just 2 releases, and with a plot device like that, it's kind of hard to look away at that comic. And it is Titan Comics, very reputable publisher. Then, moving on to Image Comics, we have Realm number 6. A new story arc. So, guys, you know what that means? New trade paperbacks are coming! After the traumatic events of last issue, Rook and Ben embark on a desperate hunt for their enemies, unaware that something else is hunting them as well, creeping in the shadows. Moving on, we have another really interesting one. I think I'm gonna really get into this one. Last Siege, #1 of 8. A Tale of Blood, Desperation, and Loss. New York Times bestselling author Landry Q. Walker joins artist Justin Greenwood for an all-new ongoing series, The Last Siege. Spaghetti Western storytelling meets Game of Thrones atmosphere in this gritty medieval war story, as a mysterious stranger arrives at a castle overrun with brutal soldiers bent on usurping, I believe that's how you pronounce that, the throne of the rightful heir, an 11-year-old girl, an action-packed genre-twisting epic. The Last Siege begins. So another story, kind of like King Arthur, where you're a child and you're now royalty in charge of all these people. It's kind of interesting, and even now it's even you're expecting more of her because it's a small girl, an 11-year-old girl. So I'm actually pretty interested into this, especially as like a spaghetti western meets Game of Thrones. So it's going to be a lot of doo-doo-doo-doo, wow wow wow. It'd be pretty cool. Now, moving on, we have a pretty important one, guys. Very serious. Where We Live, Las Vegas Shooting Benefit Anthology trade paperback. This kind of is sort of the same kind of deal like we had with Love Is Love from the Pulse nightclub shooting. On October 1st, 2017, Las Vegas, Nevada suffered the worst mass shooting in modern American history, resulting in 58 deaths and over 500 injured. It broke my heart. Las Vegas is my home. I felt like something needed to be done to help in a unique way, said J.H. Williams III, artist and curating editor. This unique way was the genesis of the Where We Live anthology, a riveting collection of both fictional stories and actual eyewitness accounts told by an all-star lineup of top talent working in comics today. All the creators have graciously volunteered their time and talent to help bring some sense to this senseless act, and in the process raise money for the survivors and their families. This book will include a variety of perspectives with key themes exploring gun violence, common sense gun control, value of a compassionate society, mental health stigmatization, aftermath of tragedy, and how individuals and communities persevere, and an appreciation of Las Vegas as a vibrant community. 100% of the proceeds for the Where We Live anthology will be donated to Route 91 Strong, a nonprofit organization, to help those affected by the event. So guys, Love Is Love was a really big deal. It's extremely collectible. You want to get a hold of these. For the fact that it's a really important piece of history, and B, that we're a collector show. You need this. But again, to make you feel better, all the money, even the artists, the people who created this book, they gave their time and they gave their love to this. And the least you can do is just give a little money, help the people, and own a piece of history, a really good collectible as well. I kind of missed out on Love Is Love, and I'm taking a hit on that emotionally because it's a really good collectible to have. And then moving on, we have, we're going to move into IDW Publishing with their release of Judge Dredd Under Siege, #1 of 4. When all contact with the Patrick Swayze block is lost, Dredd and Judge Beanie investigate only to find it's become a beachhead for an all-out mutant assault on Mega City 1. Cutting-edge humor and tense, gritty action from writer Mark Russell from The Flintstones and God is Disappointed in You, and artist Max Dunbar from Gears of War, which everybody knows what Gears of War is because it's awesome. And that's it for IDW. Moving into Aftershock Aftershock is so good at releasing awesome stories written in the past. So this is another one of those, called Pestilence, Story of Satan, #1. The second volume of this hit Aftershock series starts here. The year is 1353. The fugitive Roderick Helms has retreated to a life of hidden seclusion after failing to expose the church's role in the Black Death. But something threatens to bring him back into action. Something that has risen which will threaten to transform the waning plague into a far more darker and sinister crisis. And that something is none other than Satan himself. Written by the master of violence, gore, and mayhem, Frank Thierry, from Harley Quinn, Marvel vs. Capcom, Wolverine, Deadpool, the spectacular art from illustrator Oleg Okunev, and covers by Eisner Award-nominated artist Tim Bradstreet from The Punisher and Hellblazer. Pestilence is a refreshing new take on the zombie genre. It really drives home the claustrophobic onslaught of the undead, says James Ferguson of HorrorTalk.com. It sounds... I'm really interested in it. I mean, it's an Aftershock horror comic, so it kind of already got me. These are always well written. But you want to look into Pestilence Story of Satan #1. And that really leaves us with Aftershock. And that means we have time for the 9.9 no-brainer! Me, apparently, because Chris isn't here, he's having more fun than I am at
MegaCon 2018.
Amazing Spider-Man, number 800. So, guys, finally, number 800 of Spider-Man. I know you guys have been waiting for it, especially with the whole first appearance of the Red Goblin. That was a really big deal. Those of you who were lucky enough to pick up those issues. Dan Slott and Stuart Immonen are joined by many of the artists who made the last 10 years of Spider-Man so amazing. The biggest Peter Parker Norman Osborn story of all time unfolds over an 80-page story, a scope unmatched in comics. Who lives? Who dies? And what scars will Spider-Man bear from here on out? So it's a monumental comic in Spider-Man's existence. Not only is it 800 issues, guys, 800 issues, but I mean it's dealing with Norman Osborn again, and it's a pivotal moment in Peter Parker's life. So you don't want to miss out on this. This is almost Death of Superman type levels without having a death of. It's some serious stuff. But that's really it for today, guys. I hope that all of you who went to MegaCon got all of your, because I know this is going to come out after MegaCon. We're filming this before MegaCon. It's technically Thursday. But those of you who went to MegaCon, I hope you guys had fun, got everything you wanted signed, especially if you were smart enough and hang out at Donny Cates' booth and get a lot of stuff signed, because Donny Cates is awesome, and that's where I'm going to be. But I'm sure I had fun with all you guys. I'm talking about myself in the future tense, so this is kind of confusing. I bet I had a lot of fun with a lot of you guys, because I know I'm going to meet up with you and get some stuff signed and have some fun. But thanks for hanging around and having to deal with me by myself being boring, because I know it's better with both of us. But hey, what can you do? I put the time out of day to make sure we get this stuff done. You got to have your picks for the week. If not, I probably would have worked out something to do a live cast at MegaCon. We would have figured something out. It's for you guys. But with that, we say, and you know what? I'll say it. Good night, guys.
I knew you were going to do that.